This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and I'm here to instill some of my patented logic and common sense to the internet, which means that probably going to fail tremendously, but you guys know how I am. I'm going to always try to push for people to actually think and actually take a moment to step back from their reactions and their emotions and actually look at the bigger picture. So today Sony did a conference call before E3, of course, to talk about some of the things going on with their console, their business model, what have you. One of the things that they brought up was the notion that 2015 they're going to be sparse on first party content. Of course, you know that Uncharted got delayed. The Ratchet and Clank game is going to be pushed back to come out hand in hand with the upcoming movie, and outside of that there's probably a handful of things maybe coming out. I know Until Dawn got a release date. I don't remember what that release date is, but as it stands now, Until Dawn and the remastered of God of War 3 are the only two first party Sony games slated for the rest of 2015. Now, of course, that naturally doesn't mean that they're not going to come out with anything else, because what they said was that they're pretty sparse on first party releases. Not that they're not going to release anymore, but of course we're taking that as a statement to say that pretty much after those two games they're not going to release anything else. We just have to wait and see, because hey, it is May. We do have it's coming to the end of May, moving into June, so we still got about 6-7 months to see what happens in 2015. But that's neither here nor there. We know how how things work these days. That doesn't mean anything. Now, here's where I truly start to roll into instilling some type of logic and wisdom into this whole conversation, because of course the internet is going to react like, oh my god, Sony, what's going on? You guys are just not making games. There's nothing on the PlayStation, blah blah blah. Pretty much been the argument from jump. Same thing with the Xbox One as well, but the louder contingent is coming from the crowd that feels that Sony is dropping the ball with the PlayStation 4, even though it's selling tremendously well and people are just buying that thing like crazy. I mean, it's insane. A system that people keep claiming don't have any games, they're buying like mad. Interesting. So now my thing is this: why wasn't this the loud argument for the Xbox 360? And maybe I missed something in all that time during the whole height of the 360 PS3 quote unquote battle or whatnot. But one of the things that I remember is people basically saying that the Xbox 360 was the superior console. Okay, cool. It was definitely selling the best, so I can understand why people were saying that. Developers catered to it more. They found it easier to develop on. Therefore, a lot of games, when they came out, they ran better on the Xbox 360, or they got special perks, like the whole Call of Duty deal, where they got the DLC first, things like that. You know, it was Xbox 360 was given more love than the PS3 for the most part of its life cycle. So, okay, I get that. But here's the thing. One of the things Microsoft, and this is what's kind of kept me away from them a lot of times, or at least it's been my biggest argument against Microsoft, is that they don't really support a lot of first party games. Now, we're coming to an E3 where Microsoft says that they're going to, and I'm very, very happy for that. In fact, I'm hoping, praying that I see enough stuff that'll make me actually want to get an Xbox One. because I wouldn't mind having that system. I really wouldn't, especially since I've always been curious about the Gears of War series. But the thing is, Microsoft really never during the 360 era had a huge first-person following. For the most part, you had Halo, you had Gears, and you had Fable that got the most love. A lot of other stuff, like some of the other other exclusives in the Xbox 360's library, were third-party exclusives, such as Dead Rising or Mass Effect early on in its life, before that finally ran out and it was able to move over to the PS3 as well. And a lot of those, when you think about some of those games, like the Mass Effect series, it eventually ended up on PC too, so it wasn't completely exclusive to the 360. There were a few games like that on the 360. So that's where this whole argument against Sony and this whole lamenting over the fact that they don't have a ton of first-party games for their console drives me nuts, because for pretty much the entirety of the last generation, all you would hear was just how great the Xbox 360 was. A system that, for the most part, Microsoft didn't give a ton of first-party support. Now, I will say this: their first-party games were definitely a lot more impactful than most of Sony's. I think, take away God of War, I guess you could say Ratchet and Clank, because they do sell well, and the stuff that Naughty Dog did, The Last of Us, and Uncharted. Damn, why did I forget one of my favorite series of all time? You could pretty much say that most of Sony's first party games, while they had some success, never could be put in that same conversation as Halo or Gears of War. And if you really think about it, Uncharted and The Last of Us and God of War probably didn't even come close to the sales that they got, but they were very, very popular games, and they were games that we all talked about as well. Talked about a lot, if not on the same level, then close to that of Halo, Gears of War. So I really don't understand when people want to bash the hell out of Sony about the first party games, because nobody really bashed Microsoft for not doing that. Most of the Xbox 360 success came through its third party games, because people preferred to play the third party games on the Xbox 360. Halo, of course, was tremendous. Gears was tremendous, but they never had a ton of exclusives. It's not like they were rolling them out. Now everybody wants Sony to continue to roll out all these exclusives and want to bash them for it. It's like, well, they're not doing anything different than what Microsoft has done right now. And to be quite honest, they're not doing anything different than what they did with the PS3 as well. Whereas in the first couple, 2 or 3 years, you didn't have a lot of exclusives. And then the exclusives started to really start to roll in as the console started to mature. And you got a hell of a lot more exclusives on Sony than you did on Microsoft. And I can suspect that you're going to have the same situation when it's all said and done for this generation, as Sony seems to be really, really supportive of their first party studios, and even the first party exclusives that don't do as well, as opposed to Microsoft, who has a history of dumping off first parties when they don't perform to their expectations. So I would like to hear from you guys. Please let me know exactly, where did this whole way of thinking come from, and why do you feel like it's valid if you're one of those people who are arguing the fact that Sony isn't doing what they need to do first party wise. I'm very curious to see where the logic comes from, because it doesn't rank as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, you guys hit me up and let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This is your boy Black Megas, and I'm out. Deuces.